Hey, this is Mike Addis. Thanks for joining us. This is part 2 of a 3-part series on relationships. So if you remember the first part, relationship, which we did, we talked about taking responsibility for your actions, communications, giving more than you get, logical sense, measurable results, value for value, quid pro quo, and availability. Those are like 7 of the top rules. So now we're going to look at the next 5. And this is what I look for. All my videos are based on my own personal experiences. I do not go to the outside world to get any information. It's all original content, at least from me, my words. So this is part 2. So what I look for is logic. So all my relationships have to have some kind of a logic. If it's not logical and it doesn't make any sense, then I just walk away. All right? For example, I'm trying to get talking to another video guy. He's in India. I have a great video guy in Serbia. He's the guy that's doing this. And he does excellent work, but I always have other people that I'm always talking to all the time. And in this particular case, a lot of video people come to me. So they started doing the video, and we went back and forth. And I told them, well, make some revisions because it's only fair. They have to know what I'm looking for. And they did a pretty good job. But after 2 or 3 revisions, they still couldn't come up with the video. They just don't have the talent. It's not logical for me to continue in the relationship with these guys. And even if I did continue the relationship, I wouldn't use them. I would just keep them on the sideline and say, I always have other people that I work with. I don't just work with one person. In each category, I might have 2 or 3 or 4 different people that I work with. Except for Search Engine Optimizer, I only have one person I work with. So they kept coming back and blaming me for the reason that they couldn't produce what I was looking for. To me, that's illogical. That was the end of the relationship. I just cut it off. I said, thank you very much for your time, and they were gone. That's number 1. Number 2, lying. If I feel or I can prove to myself in my own mind that you have a contradiction where you said one thing one day and the other and something else the next day, or there's any kind of lying in the relationship's over immediately. I do not continue in relationships unless they're personal relationships related to my children, for example, and they don't lie to me as far as I can see. So lying in any kind of relationship, and in particular business relationships, but in personal relationships, if the person's lying to you, they're out. Okay, number 3, I'm looking to have relationships with intelligent people. Intelligence does not mean education. There's a difference between intelligence and education. There's some very, very super smart, intelligent people out there, and we've experienced them all that are not highly educated people. Bill Gates is one of them. He's a college dropout. Steve Jobs is another one. Okay, so there's several examples of people that are out there. And there's a lot of people out there that we call educated fools. So an educated fool would be somebody that has a master or a doctorate degree. I know some people, I don't want to mention who they are, that are goofballs. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. And they're highly educated. So when education and intelligence are not synonymous, I look to do business with intelligent people that understand what I'm looking for and understand that I'm paying them to provide me a service if it's business related, or even in customer relationships. If the customer's a pain in the ass and they're not semi-intelligent, it don't make any sense. I don't need customers. I have lots of customers. I love to keep my customers happy. That's my goal. In personal relationships, I want to have a personal relationship with someone that's at least as intelligent as I am. I don't have hardly any personal relationships, but when I do have one, I want to make sure that the person and I are on the same level as far as intelligence, going back and forth. Number 4 is communication. I mentioned this in the last one, but I'm going to mention it again because communication is everything. Relationships begin and end because communication is poor. I'm going to tell you again, I said it in the first video, I'm going to say it again. What is communication to me? The definition of communication, and this is important, you don't have to go to any communication classes. I'm going to give it to you in like 1 or 2 sentences. Communications is, I have to make sure when I'm talking to you that you understand what I'm talking about. When you're saying something to me, you have to make sure that I understand. Well, how do I do that? Well, when I say something to you, I have to say to you, do you understand what I'm talking about? Yes, I do. If I have any inkling, any doubt in my mind that you don't understand what I'm talking about, that's poor communication. And guess what? Poor communication compounds. So if you have a communication that's not clear, or I have a communication with you that's not clear, then it just gets worse because it's compounded, it's not clear. Now, since I do business with people all around the world, and English is not their first language usually, but they speak very good English. They don't understand my English. I'm talking American English. They're talking British English, or they're talking Pakistani English, or they're talking Bangladeshi English, or they're talking Serbian English or Moroccan English, or all kinds of Englishes all over the world. It's different. American English is not British English. So I have to make sure in my communication with people that they clearly understand what I'm talking about. Case in point, if I'm talking to the search engine optimizer lady that I deal with in Bangladesh, I have to make sure that she's 100% clear that I have a particular goal in mind and I want it reached by the end of the month. Do you have any questions in your mind about that? No. Tell me exactly what I want. You want to have XYZ by the end of the month. Clearly defined goals in communication when it comes to business. When it comes to personal, communication is everything. If communication is off, I've had people come back to me and say a year later, well, I didn't know that's what you were talking about. Why? Well, because I didn't take responsibility to make sure that what I was communicating was clearly understood by the other person. That is communication. Don't waste your time and money going to a communication course. That's all communication is. And I decide to move forward or not. If I have to make the decision when I want to move forward in a relationship or not, business or personal. If I don't think there's any real value there for business or personal, I just cut the relationship off. And since like I've said 100 times, I don't have hardly any personal relationships, practically none. And when I do decide on a personal relationship, it has to be exceptional. It has to be something and I say, wow, this person is somebody that I need to have a relationship with. It's important to me, and I think it's going to be extra important to them. This is Mike Addis. Thanks for joining us on part 2 of relationships. Don't forget to hang in there, subscribe, because I'm going to come out with part 3. And part 3 is going to be a very, very important part. And I want to make sure that you get it all in that discussion. May even have a part 4. Don't forget to hit the subscriber button. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to check out our blog at Addis Cash. It's Mike Addis once again. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you on the next video.